A couple days ago, I had the pleasure of speaking to some of the cast and crew of the group chat, a virtual play which follows three girls in their first year of college. Beginning the year with excitement and anticipation, things take a turn for the worst when messages from a boys' group chat are leaked. The girls soon find themselves having to fight for the right to feel safe at their university and face head-on the consequences of a male-dominated society. So, without further ado, let's jump into the interview. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Can't complain really. Right, for those watching at myhero.com, I am joined with Dec Kelly, a current student at the University of Leeds in the UK, big up, and the writer and director of the group chat, which is a virtual play. It came out a week ago, right?
Yeah, so on Friday, so yeah, it's a week old today.
So yeah, could you just tell us a little bit about the play and the whole virtual aspect of it?
So obviously, because of Miss Rona, which we all know about, the play was originally meant to be like a stage version that I decided to write for the Edinburgh Fringe. But yes, very different situations happen. So we're like, right, we're not just going to sit here and sit in dark while obviously all this is happening and like not let shows go on and performances. So we decided, we were like, right, let's try and be creative. And I thought, you know what, it's called a group chat. Why don't we film it through a group chat and online? And then like doing that, it like added like such a different element to the play, like having to rewrite certain aspects which fit the group chat. But I think doing that made the play like 10 times better.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought that it was a very unique style and one that could definitely be used more often, you know? Like in these times, I mean, who knows when it's going to end, but like, I think it's such a good alternative.
Literally. It's just one of them as well. Like it was like there's elements of it that were easy to do and the elements that which were harder, like the editing and stuff like that. But either way, it's just basically making another platform for people to be able to showcase and perform the work on, which like obviously Veritas is very like key at the moment. Hence like when we did the by the sync challenges, we got people to just sing during lockdown or do a monologue trying to just platform their work. And I
Yeah.
just feel that is such an important thing to keep on doing, like carry on trying to platform work and not to give up with this like creative outlet that everybody has inside them.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And the topic of the play is it's a pretty hefty one. And it discusses sexual abuse. It's a very important topic, but also a pretty emotional one. So I really admire you for kind of talking about it. Why was that? What drew you to that topic?
I feel like for me, like obviously, like growing up, I've always had like lots of like girl mates and stuff like that. And then obviously, like I have my male mates, like I have my really close friendship group of lads. And it was a very weird situation, like, because I was reading an article about it, and I'm like, I don't get how anyone could sit there and say that coming from a male perspective. Like, I don't get how anyone could have the tongue in cheek to say anything like that. And then it got me thinking more, and it was like, well, what if someone said that about one of my mates, someone that I was close to? What if that was said about my sister? Just stuff like that. And it made me think, and it made me realise that a little comment that you may think, like it says in the play constantly, is lad banter. It's really not lad banter. It's a lot deeper than that, and there's a lot more meanings behind everything that you say. People needed to be educated about stuff, and I think there's so much happening at the moment. Like since like being in lockdown, we've had so many different like stuff which like people need to get more educated on, such as like BLM and stuff like that. Like it's a very topical thing which more people need to educate about, because I think people do brush it under the carpet and think, all right, I've just said this statement, but that means nothing because it's just lad banter, but it's not lad banter.
How many views does it have at the moment?
At the moment, it has 1,692.
Whoa. That's great. I mean, in a
Uh,
week, that's
yeah,
insane.
we got to 1,000 views in like 48 hours, which was insane. Like I just were watching like the numbers go up, and I just thought it was very surreal. You were a bit like, whoa, so people are actually watching my work that I've been writing in my bedroom since January.
How involved in the company are you?
So Veritas is a theatre company that me and three others founded like
Right, yeah,
a year and a half ago now.
yeah,
And it came from like we all went to youth theatre together when we were younger, and it came from like we constantly used to say to each other, we want to do this, we want to do this show, we want to do that. Why is this show like this? Why is this show like that? And we were like, right, come on, what we're going to do is we're actually going to do something about it rather than just talking.
hmm,
And then we decided to make this theatre company. So it means Veritas means truth in Latin. So obviously it's about how all our pieces have truth at the centre of it. And like
yeah,
one of our main mottos with it all is like we are young people producing work about young people performed for young people.
right,
And that's a really big aspect for us because like we all did growing up, like we all did National Youth Theatre Connections, which is like a showcase of like new writing every year, and it's old people writing shows for young people.
sure,
And we did a play once, and every other sentence just had swear words in, and it's just like you are basing plays on children, teenagers, and not knowing anything about them, because that's not what we do. We don't swear after every sentence. Do you know what I mean? Like it is
yeah,
very stereotyped representations of like how a young person is. So we were like, we want to showcase what young people are about. So our first we did one big paid piece of work with the National Coal Mining Museum called Our House, which Tom Osborne wrote, who's one of the other people involved. And that was just basically about like being around during the mining industry, like very political and obviously good for the north because it was all about being in the north, which we
yeah.
love. And then in November of 2019, we did a new writing showcase. So all the people who were part of the company wrote a new play, 20-minute play. And we just, invited people, put on these shows and just got feedback really. Just once again platformed our work.
That's great. I think, yeah, absolutely right. Like, we can all sit around and talk about it as much as we want. And I think that actually doing something about it, especially at our age, I think our age is a very weird one. It's kind of an in between because we're like still young, but like we're adults. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like,
yeah.
it's our time to like speak.
Yeah,
Um,
our time to make a mark with stuff. You're not just gonna
yeah,
sit back. And I
exactly.
definitely think like with our like age group moving on and like getting older, like we've been taught things growing up by parents, people we know older, like stuff that we may agree with, may not agree with, and then it's now our decision to either then carry that on what
Mhm.
you believe in or what don't believe in. And I think that is such an important thing about young people nowadays because they are, this like not the right phrase, but like we are the trendsetters for the future.
Hi. Hello. So, yeah, nice to meet you. I don't think I've met either of you before. Just, oh yeah, for those watching, this is Maddie and Catherine, and they form part of the cast of the group chat. And yeah, so I was just very interested while watching it, like how did the rehearsal process go about? And then how was the filming process? Like, did you get to do like, I mean, as many takes as you wanted, which I mean isn't as much as what you do in like, I don't know, stage. Yeah, what was the deal? Like, how did that all happen?
Well, we started off by doing a few like read throughs, um, just kind of like seeing how we would like follow on with the script and whether we needed to do any improv, just to make, because obviously the script needed to be adapted for it to be filmed. So just to make it as natural as possible in a group chat setting, um, we kind of did some read throughs, and then we could do as many takes, but we tried to like do it within like 2 or 3 really. But if we had any problems, it was really good because we could go back and redo it, which obviously doing it in a new format, there's bound to be problems, like with audio and stuff, but we worked around it, which is good.
I think there were just with the rehearsing and the filming, there were parts that were really funny. Like we'd be doing like a WhatsApp scene, and like there'd be stuff that when you'd be doing that in a play, when you think about like the time on the phone, wouldn't match up to the take that we'd just done. So if we were wanting to use those together, we'd have to then, like, Dec would have to change the time on the computer, or like we'd have to delete the messages that were already there. Like just really little things like that, which normally as like the actors and the director is not what is your job to think about. Like having to be like switched on to be thinking about stuff that isn't normally ours to think about.
But then even like little things like lighting. Obviously, like normally you might have a full like bulb on you, like these spotlights, but I'm always like, Catherine, do you mind moving away from that spot so we can actually get like a good shot of you, baby? Like literally.
Right now.
Like background noise.
Yeah, like background noise. One of the scenes we were filming, and it was quite serious. Helena's dog was barking in the background. Or like, could we please tell that dog to be quiet? Like, it was such a relaxed like process. Like the whole thing, like, hats off to all the girls. It was a very collaborative process. Like, for example, we'd be like, right, we're doing this scene. Does anyone have an issue with anything in this scene? And if something didn't flow, all of the girls, which is what I loved about working with them all voiced up anything that they thought, can we add this, can we do that? This sounds a bit more natural. So it did become such a collaborative process with it all, which I think is so nice, especially coming from a male writer writing about very strong female themes, having the encouragement and support of the female cast just like meant so much, because it felt like, right, you're doing a good thing here and you're getting so much support of the people who are at the heart of these situations.
How long did it take?
So I think it was like we did auditions in like
It was the end of April because
end
the
of
deadline.
April time. Yeah.
Oh my God, is that how long ago it was?
Yeah, so we did auditions in April. The audition piece was Lottie's monologue when she's on the phone to her dad.
Oh, right.
So we got like a handful of audition tapes in, and we just watched them. Yeah, and so then we decided to put it to bed for a bit because we didn't know what happened with Rona. And then I was like, you know what, we're going to do it. I'm going to do it on a group chat. And then from then, it worked so well. And we were just doing these sessions, rehearsals, doing it. And then as soon as restaurants and stuff started to open, so me and Maddie worked at McDonald's, I work at Pizza Hut, you know, the part-time life and all that lot.
Love that.
Near the end of it, it became difficult because of how much like some of us were working. But it was decent. We got a lot done before it started getting difficult anyway.
I was just going to mention the time as well. We spent like, I think maybe 2-3 hours filming a scene, and then it got completed.
Oh no.
Like that happened, which added on to the time of it. But
yeah, that was very early on as well.
After
That, like, guys, we've just lost 3
Oh God, I'll never forget that.
Maddie and Catherine, the characters that you are playing are ones that a lot of us can relate to. A lot of people our age can relate to. They are freshers at uni or college, first years at college. Yeah, so I feel like how did you draw upon your own lives and kind of your own experiences being young and having fun and all that? But then when was it time to separate yourself? And when was it time to step away from the character?
Building up the relationship between the girls, it was really nice to be able to draw on like our own experiences, because obviously being at uni, you get close to people so quickly, and I think it was really nice to be able to bring that in with our characters. So I think that does show like a reality of uni and what the relationships are like. But when it came to become more serious and the issues were being spoken about, I think that's when we had to kind of like separate ourselves, because you're gonna have a natural reaction to what's being spoken about, and you had to remember that your character would react differently to how you would react.
Yeah.
So I think that was when it was like, right, it's not me, is my character now.
A really interesting thing about all the three girls is that they're written all completely differently. So no girl is the same. So like obviously here with like Maddie and Catherine, Maddie's part, Bethan, she like, the best way to describe it is like near the end of it, she just breaks. Like she literally just like breaks, not like breaks down emotionally, but she just crumbles because she goes from being this fun girl who would love to be on a pedestal, be viewed by everybody, do all this stuff, and then you start to see it slowly knock her one by one. And it's really nice to see that character story arc, especially because of Maddie's part as well. Like you see Maddie's part like on the floor eating chicken nuggets in like the first couple of scenes. But then what's very interesting about Catherine's is Catherine is very a wall. That's how I'd like to describe the part that Catherine plays a lot. Is she's very like, I'm going to do what's right. I'm going to stand up for what's right. I'm going to do what's right. All this lot. As soon as she started getting more and more into it, contacted her dad and stuff like that, this wall became unknockable, which is a good thing. But Catherine's last scene was her doing the phone call to her dad. So it was kind of a bit like, she's now so driven to make all this happen, question mark, has she pushed the other girls away because of her drive that much? That's something like what was left open for people to think, because she wasn't there in the last scenes. Like she deleted social media because of the relationship with her dad at the uni.
It was kind of a bittersweet end. I mean, it was all bitter. Like you don't want any of it to happen. But especially with Maddie's character, Bethan, that final monologue, it was a very bittersweet moment for me. It was she's happy that she's moving on and she's excited about moving on. But the fact that she has to move on, I mean, it just sucks.
It's like the grit of the teeth being like, yeah, I'm happy to move.
That when I did so with the vlogs, because they were quite long, we didn't do them on a Zoom call. Like I would go off and I would just film them. And I think that one I did about 10 times because I did it in so many different ways, because it was trying to figure out, is she actually happy to be going? Like, is she actually acknowledging why she's going? Like, there's just so many different things of like so many different emotions, that which ones are the ones that are wanting to be the most prominent. So it's really interesting monologue, like to film and to figure out how best to play it.
You do literally see her break, and like you do stick at it, like you literally tear up and all that lot, and it's quite hard to watch, because it's like no one should have to move away from a place that they love, where their friends are, just because of what somebody said in a group chat, because you now don't feel safe. And I feel like another interesting thing about it all is that none of the girls swear in the whole piece, apart from Maddie when she describes herself as being a slag or a whore, which I know is not a swear word. It's just obviously a stronger term to describe things. But at any point, anyone could have swore through that piece. I think that the fact that Maddie is the one to say that, I think says a lot about the piece, because Shauna her character was very laid back vibe the whole way through. Like you've got your laid back, you've got your wall, and you've got your broken. And I think it was nice that it was Maddie's part to be able to just say them words.
I think as well it's interesting that the words weren't my words. I was saying what I was being called by the people. So even when we did use harsher language, it wasn't the girls' language, it was what the girls were being called.
I enjoyed all of it. Acting-wise, I thought that it was all very naturalistic. And did you guys have to adjust your acting? I mean, I don't know if you guys are typical stage actors or whether you do more filming stuff, but I can imagine as stage actors, this close up to a camera, you'd have to kind of rein it in quite a lot. So how's that?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's what I found the hardest, because I've never really never done any film acting. So to then realise that my facial expressions would literally be this close, I was quite aware of that. So yeah, you did have to kind of not downplay it, but just make sure that it was a more natural reaction rather than everyone needs to see my face type thing. But yeah, that you did definitely, for me, I had to kind of rein it in a bit.
I've done a bit of screen stuff before, and I think that it was different as well, because it's not a camera, I personally am on my iPad. Like,
Wow.
so it, when you're acting with a camera, you're looking, I mean, a lot of times you can't see because it's just so many lights are on you. Sometimes you can see the person opposite you, sometimes you can't. So it's, you're acting, but you're not really going off very much. Whereas with this, I'm literally looking at my screen and looking at people's faces. So as much as it is being filmed, personally, I can't even compare it to filming work because it is still different, and it almost doesn't feel like acting, because especially with the scenes with the girls, we were just having a chat, having a laugh. So that made it a lot easier, I think, doing it in this format, because it felt naturalistic.
That's what made it so, like you said, the naturalistic part, that's what made it so naturalistic. Like there was the scene after the night where they're all hungover and Maddie's got her sunglasses on.
Yeah.
Like that was just so fun. Like me and Helen obviously just had our cameras off at that time, and we were just there like laughing like to ourselves. Like it was just a beautiful thing to watch. Like three girls who, one, have never met each other in the process, two, don't know each other, three, have been able to put on this absolute sick portrayal of three best friends from just being on call. But like one of the first ever sessions, we did like a Zoom quiz, you know, the classics, and it was just nice. We just all bonded and just had like a nice time. And like I think me, Catherine, and Shauna came off call at like 3 a.m. We were just like talking about absolutely everything. And it was nice. Like Zoom has provided such a bonding for so many people in lockdown, and like I think it's really nice that the play was filmed through that way, because it does make great connections with people, and that's what it shows like. But yeah, another thing, like hats off to the girls for like not meeting each other in person and just still putting that on, like literally.
Yeah, I mean, I would have believed that you were like freshers, pals, you're there, you're having a good time. I bought it. The topic of sexual abuse and boys being boys is it's a toughie, and can be quite close to home in, you know, any kind of degree of it. I feel like every girl has experienced something. How does it feel, I guess, to know that you are giving, like, you have a voice now within this topic, within this discourse, and that you are contributing to something that says something pretty important and something pretty big?
It's really empowering, I think, because obviously, like, I graduated last year, and going through uni, you can definitely see where things like this come into real life. So I think to have gone through that and to have thought in my head like, oh, I wish I could do something about it, I think this is a really good way to be able to get the message across, because it's entertaining. It's not like a lecture, it's entertaining, but it's with this really clear message. And so I think that people will take away from that more. So knowing that, it does feel like we are doing something, and like we are helping and demanding respect, I think. So yeah, it was really great to be part of, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I haven't been to uni. I'm applying for drama schools, which is great fun. But my brother's going to uni in September, which is really crazy to think about, because to me he's like my little brother. And I think this is really important, for as much as it is for girls and for feeling empowered, which is definitely, as Catherine said, the feeling that comes from it, is also for boys to watch it. And I don't want to be like patronising, but to realise that their words in a group chat have meaning behind them, have impacts. Because I think when you're, again, I'm not being, but when you go to uni, you're making all these new friends. You say things because boys will be boys, and it's boys watching that going, actually, I'm going to uni, I'm going to be in that experience. Like, check yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like another thing, like what Maddie just said, we like check yourself when you go to uni. I feel like we've probably all done it. Like when you go to freshers, you have a very show-off mentality. You're like, oh, I've done this. Even silly things like never have I ever. Let's see what everyone's done in the room. Let's suss people out. You very put yourself out there and try and be someone that you aren't half the time, to try and fit in with people. And I feel like relating to the boy aspect, which Maddie was just on about, like obviously coming like when I'm like with my male friends, and like sometimes you just don't even realise that you do something or you say something, and it's just a slight thing, and you're like, right, let's just pause a minute. That actually is not right. And not the worrying thing about it all is, obviously we based it around the Warwick University case. We don't really follow the stuff. We follow the story a little bit, but we don't use like all the names and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
We just use like what happened. But like for me, the more worrying thing about the fact is that Warwick got this such huge stigma around what happened. But that's just one university, one group chat.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There are so many different places, and like the beauty about the play as well, if you took the fact that it was in a university out and took the freshers part out, it could be in a workplace, it could be anywhere. It
I
doesn't
was
need
gonna say, I've not been to uni, but just from places that I've worked, I could very easily see that occurring.
completely. It's a universal topic, and the script can be universal if you literally take out that aspect, university, freshers and stuff like that. I feel like the beauty of it being in the group chat and filmed through a group chat, you want to jump on your keyboard, you want to say something, but you can't. It's like,
Yeah.
are you one of the boys in the chat that didn't say something? I like it, do you know what I mean? Like, it is very like, I wish there were a typing button right now and I could just type my response to her or tell Bethan that it's going to be okay, but you can't. You sit there and you watch it.
Also educating people to reach out if something like that happens. And Helena's character did reach out. Obviously, that was quite near the end of the play, and showing people that if you see that happening, then do reach out, because reaching out makes a difference. Maybe if someone reached out to Bethan sooner, she would have been okay. Maybe if someone had reached out to Lottie sooner, she wouldn't have had such a wall. She would have been able to process things. Like like telling people like this situation happens and help people.
Completely. And like, even if you think of the whole play, if Shauna's character, Lauren, had got support from the start, it'd have been a different story. The play would have been so much different, but she didn't. And it's just one of them, like, the tiniest bit of support for anyone during this situation, during these, like, current themes, would mean so much to that person. Do you know, like, obviously, I feel like what's really bad about the play, in the sense that you feel disgusted about the way that the boys were treated, because you're like, right, why has that happened? Why is stuff being changed? Why is one of them banned for life and now actually coming back in September?
Mm-hmm.
Because boys will be boys, and it's all very derogatory, and you know, the way like society sometimes is viewed, white upper class males ruling the world. Do you know what I mean? Like, it is very, people need to voice up and say something. And I think the beauty of the last scene, where everybody joins the call, you've got people who, a lot of them are Leeds University students, a lot of them have never, some people on there had never done acting before, nothing. It was just a bunch of people on a camera over a shared passion and a shared topic. They had one line each and they held up a banner, but that one line, that banner, was probably built the most impact throughout the whole play. That last scene, I watch it now and I'm just like mad. And like with Kira's singing that song at the end,
It was gorgeous.
it was just like, it really took a back. Like you stood back and you were like, this can't happen. Like, so what? I think there were only 12 girls on the call, 12 girls with all different signs. That's 12 different opinions, 12 different stories of what could have happened.
Yeah, absolutely. That final scene, it was a great kind of like full stop. It was a great way to end the piece. And I mean, if you'd done that on a stage, you wouldn't have been able to do that, right? Because
this is the thing. So that last scene, when I originally wrote it, was going to be that like the audience became members of the protest. So like underneath their chairs, they'd have like signs that we'd made for them.
oh no.
And they'd like pull them up and like a bit like an audience participation sort of thing. So like when I had to adapt that, I was like, I need to get this message and this power across. How am I going to do that? And it did take a long time for me to think, right, I'm going to add loads of people onto a call and just see what happens. But yeah, like the original plan was to like not like a protest, a march sort of thing, but the audience be part of it. And then I think that really raises a nice aspect, because you are then forced into the situation, whether you like it or not, you're standing up against something.
Yeah.
You've got that plaque, you are saying something. And even if you don't like it, in that moment in time, you're a number in a big campaign, in a big stance towards something else.
Yeah, it was really great. The whole play was, I thought, really well done, and it got every single aspect of it. Like you said, this is one instance in a much bigger problem. It doesn't stop there, and hopefully the play will get like 10 times the views that it has now, which is crazy, by the way. But hopefully it will, and I don't doubt that it will. And yeah, the awareness will just keep being spread. And I think you guys are great for being a part of that. And yeah, I'm very impressed, and I was very impressed when I watched it, and I really enjoyed it. The final little ditty here, little question. So I am interviewing you with my hero. So I just want to know, who are your heroes? Whether it's in any aspect of life, who are your heroes?
That is a hard question.
It can be literally, it can be a family member. It can be.
Can it be? Yeah, I'm gonna say, can it be? But or is that really cheesy?
No, absolutely. I think it can be.
I'll start. I have two for different reasons. So I feel like number one would obviously be my mum. Big shout out to Fiona Senior. But yeah, like for me, like I've never met someone more encouraging. Like I could have, obviously we know how the arts work, we know how theatre work, but for my entire growing up, she's always been a bit like a dance mum, but we're going to call it a drama mum. Being there at everything, and like literally taxiing me to rehearsals non-stop, and like told me to carry on when stuff were hard, and like when obviously like you don't get parts and you just get so like down about situations. But yeah, definitely like even just speaking about themes we've been involved in this play, talking to her, because her job, like she does a lot of like talking to people about stuff, so it was really nice to get that across through the play, like not get something across in a nasty, malicious way, but get it done in a very educational way, stuff like that. So yeah, my mum, because obviously what she does, and she's been amazing. And also like a little bit cringe, but also someone that me and Catherine and Helen know, Uncle Sarah Osborne, who literally, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be where I am today. And like that is a massive hats off to her. So she's the person who like used to teach me, Hannah, Tom, and Helena when we were younger. Still are there a little bit now. Just like as soon as I met her, like she literally had so much faith in me. Like we had such a weird start because we did a play. So we did a play about Jesus in his last few days, and I was Judas in the play. And obviously, when Judas kisses Jesus to betray him, I was on stage and like got shouted abuse from the audience by people, and it was really hard. And then since that day, like Sarah's been like my second one. Like she literally took me to the side and we're like all this lot. And then I joined her youth theatre, and then she's seen me through the weirdest times, like grow, crash, literally everything, howl, cry. And it's just one of them people like may not be family, but has such a big impact on your life. If it wasn't someone like that, I don't know what I'd be doing now. Maybe doing like geography, studying some rocks. No offense to anyone. There's geography.
Geography's great.
Yeah, I was also going to say my mum.
Fair
I
enough.
think it's so true though, because like Deck said, just you sometimes just do need that encouragement, and my mum is just the best for giving me encouragement. Like I think if it wasn't for my mum, I probably wouldn't have done this, because you know it does hit close to home, and sometimes you're like maybe I shouldn't try doing new things and stuff, but she was like, no, do it. Like obviously I graduated last year, so throwing myself back into drama and acting was quite hard for me because I'd not done it in a while, but my mum was like, you love it so much, so just go for it. So yeah, definitely my mum is my hero.
Cute.
I have two as well. One of mine, unfortunately, is a celebrity, but like acting's my everything. Like that's all I want to do. So a big person for me is David Tennant. Love him. Love all the stuff he's in. But I also just love how versatile he is. Like he can do a film production to a stage production, like from a modern day to a Shakespeare. He's just so versatile, which is just something that I crave so much in a career. And the second person will be someone called Gemma Wuffenden, who works at Leeds Playhouse. And similar to what Dex said, they're just someone who, within the arts, within the industry, is just so supportive. Gemma, bless her, has been checking up on me through lockdown, making sure I'm all right. She's always sending me opportunities and things like, oh, why don't you try this? Why don't you do that? And she just, not just with acting, but also as a person, she always admits when she's wrong. She always says, like, do you know what? I need to learn more about that. I need to educate myself on that. Always wanting to do better and being very open about it. And I think as you get older, there's the expectation that you should just know what you're doing and you should have it sussed. And having a relationship with an adult who's just honest and is like, do you know what, I haven't got that sussed and I need to try harder, is just really nice to feel like, okay, I can mess up, I can get things wrong, and it's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. That's always going to be the case. We're always learning. And we always need to check ourselves in many different instances. So yeah, I think that's a very good thing to kind of have to look up to, a good person. Well, thank you guys. This has been great. I congratulate you again for the success of this play, and the future success of it. This is not even nearly the end, I'm sure, of your all of like the excitement around it. I don't think that is going to go away anytime soon. But yeah, thank you guys. This has been amazing, and I've loved chatting with you. And good luck in the future with all of your projects and with Veritas. And I'm excited to see what they do next. And hopefully, fingers crossed, you'll be able to go to the Fringe next year.
To be fair, like little spoilers for us all. So we've got two things. We are trying our best. As soon as we get allowed into a theatre or a space anywhere, we're going to put it on stage. We're going to have, if the girls are all available, the original cast. And I think it would be so powerful to watch it from online in thingy. But then also, currently rewriting it slightly to make it into a theatre and education piece. And it's going to go to my old college to have a look at. Nice. So that's a thing going ahead. But yeah, just we need to platform it. Message needs to be said.
Do you guys have anything else you want to like add? Anything else you want to say?
I'll just say, just a big thank you to everybody who's watched it, shared it, gave us feedback, because me, the cast, and obviously the rest of the Veritas production team are just entirely grateful for everything. Like, end of the day, we're all young people just being creative, doing some work, but the amount of like nice comments and feedback that we've had back from people, and opportunities, for example, to do this with you, and like obviously the Independent to do that article on us, the other what was sent out yesterday. It's just been so nice that people are backing us, to say that Veritas a year ago was a little, four of us sat in a little cafe in Wakefield, on Marmalade on the Square, not knowing what's going to happen, and being like, you know what, let's do something. And like a year on, year and a half on, we're making a stance about stuff, which is nice.
Amazing. You guys have been great. You guys are great. That's all I got to say. So yeah, thank you again for coming on this.
Thank you. And
I'll see you guys soon in the theatre world, hopefully. Okay, bye.
Bye.